Jesus was sitting on the Mount of Olives opposite the temple and began to talk to his disciples about the end which is to come. In those days, after the time of suffering, the sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will be falling from heaven, and the powers in the heavens will be shaken. Then they will see the Son of Man coming in clouds with a great power and glory. Then he will send out the angels and gather his elect from the four winds, from the ends of the earth to the ends of heaven. From the fig tree, learn its lesson. As soon as the branch becomes tender and puts forth its leaves, you know that summer is near. So also, when you see these things taking place, you know that he is near at the very gates. Truly I tell you, this generation will not pass away until all these things have taken place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. But about that day or hour, no one knows, neither the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. This is the gospel of the Lord. They call that writing, there's a real name for it actually, it's called apocalyptic writing. You can forget that word, but anyway, it's a writing about disaster. It's like a disaster movie, you know. People love disaster movies. I'm a more of a Sing in the Rain sort of a chap, but anyway. People love those terrible movies. But that's the sort of writing it is. It's a literary genre. It's called apocalyptic, the end of things. Why is it here in the gospel? Because something of almost unimaginable disaster has happened to Jewish people. The city of Jerusalem has been destroyed. The temple has been destroyed. If you want an image, think Gaza. Think those terrible images we're getting of people being destroyed. Or think of the Ukraine. But this is what they were facing, and this is when Mark was writing this gospel. So he's writing it about an extraordinarily chaotic event. And the church holds these gospels, these ideas up to right at the end of the year, these 2 Sundays before Advent. Advent changes the whole mood. Is it appropriate for us today? Well, they're getting too dramatic, you know. Well, it's hard not to get dramatic. I mean, I believe, some don't by the way, but I believe that we're living on the edge of a precipice. Our ocean temperatures are rising. Even recently, little black balls were tossed up out of the ocean, which were mysterious. They were filth. They were like a little sign that the ocean was sick of being abused. The skies are now crowded with drones. And some of those drones have got lethal weapons in them. And they're controlled by shining computers somewhere. Also, and let's not get into this too much, but our politics are devoid of all civil discourse. So, things are crook, aren't they? Things are crook at Talarook. So this sort of writing can feed into our own mood. And it's heavy stuff. It's hard to throw off. It's one of the quotations I often go back to is a quotation from that lovely, that extraordinarily powerful Indian leader, Mohandas Gandhi. Gandhi took on the British Empire without weapons, without organisation, but led a group of people to take salt from the ocean. And he changed the course of history. But he said once, and these are the words that really console me, he said, "When I despair, I remember that all through history, the ways of truth and love have always won. There have been tyrants and murderers, and for a time they can seem invincible. But in the end, they always fall. Think of it, always." Well, I like that. I'm a bit of an optimist, of course, but that man was not one just to make cheap comments, and he was talking about his own life and the way he changed the course of history. I remember that all through history, the ways of truth and love have always won. And yes, I think that's why the gospel that ended so dramatically with those signs of Jerusalem's destruction, it's called the good news. It's not called the news in times of crisis, or the news that's sometimes pretty awful. It's called good news. And we are called good news people. We are Easter people. This sort of mindset is a mindset that we're invited to join in. We're inviting Jack this morning. Jack, we're inviting you into a group of people who are struggling with issues, but are people of the good news. We're people who see things clearly. There's a long quotation that I just want to try to answer the question, where does our hope reside? Are you a person of hope? I suppose yes, no, perhaps. But where does your hope reside? Where is the source of that hope? And this quotation is, "Something we know not what is always and everywhere lovingly at work, we know not how, to make the world more than it is now, and to make us more than we are yet." Vague comment, but it's powerful. Something we know not what is always and everywhere lovingly at work. We know not how, we know not what. And that something is the gracious mystery of a God. A higher power than our own ego. It's this thing that within every one of us. More than the impelling life force of evolution, the inexhaustible lively energy of this magnificent universe we're, our own enlightened nature. And it's that which Jesus called Father. All are one single reality, a sacred heart of love, our heart at its best. That's where my hope resides, that there's something around us, holding us, giving us purpose, giving us love, saying to the next generation of people, the future's possible. And it's that hope is the reason we call the gospel we just read the good news. The question is not, is God present to us? But the real question is, are we present to God? Do we feel this enveloping gracious mystery that is holds us and accompanies us every mile of our journey? And it's in that that we face the apocalyptic writing of Mark and the many, many disasters in our world. So may we be Easter people.